Welcome to Fitness and Finance Radio. I am your co-host, Tony Shore. They call me Dr. Tony Shore, but don't worry, I'm not an actual doctor. I just play one on the radio. And I'm here with Jeff and Jennifer, Jeffrey Smith and Jennifer Scherer. You guys, great to see you again. We've had a couple of weeks off. You guys have been traveling.
Yes.
I know you went to a huge financial conference and getaway in Quebec, Canada, of all places. Some of the nation's top advisors were there, and that's always good to kind of see other people and get to know them and what they're doing for their clients, and that's awesome. How was your trip to Quebec? Jeff, let's start with you. What happened over there?
Oh, so awesome. We just had a
Do you speak French?
En petit, just a little.
So were you able to order any food besides poutine?
Yeah. I just put an LA in front of everything. I was like, I'll have a milkshake.
Le milkshake.
Yes, I had. Well, thankfully they had Starbucks, and we had.
Oh, good. Okay.
We had some
egg
bites, and that was anyhow. We didn't go to Quebec to eat the egg bites. It was amazing, wonderful food. We actually did have a lot of really good food, some French cuisine.
Yeah,
we had a visit to the city farm, which was amazing. We got to experience some really cool old world style and wonderment, right?
Yeah, the architecture was so nice, and being right there on the St. Lawrence River, beautiful. Yeah, it was really nice. I think my favorite part of that trip was the outdoor spa.
Oh, that's right. That was amazing.
It was really neat. Really neat. All these different areas that you could go into.
And we had to throw our phones away.
Yeah.
Couldn't have the phones going.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You had to leave the phones behind, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually good. It's good for you. Get a little break, right?
Yes. So I actually want to start by saying while we were there, we got a comment on one of our YouTube videos.
You did?
Yeah. And Tony, you brought it to our attention. So thank you for that.
Yeah. It was kind of a nasty gram.
It was
actually. I bet that surprised you. It surprised me.
It definitely surprised me. So I think we just want to take a quick moment and talk about something incredibly important where, I shared some personal experiences of being shamed for bettering myself. And afterward, we did receive a series kind of anonymous, hateful comments. And some of those comments weren't just online. They were actually sent directly to Jeff.
To me,
on Messenger. And while I don't need to dignify every attack with a response, I think this one offers an opportunity to have like a bigger conversation about shame, about bullying, and just generally speaking, maybe about boundaries.
Definitely.
And so I think our stories are real and our healing is real. We didn't ask for anyone's permission to share them. And we don't share these experiences to bash anyone. We share them because someone listening right now might be walking through the same kind of manipulation or the same kind of sabotage. And they need to know they're not alone.
Right.
And, that's why we speak.
Yeah.
Because someone out there is still in it. And they are questioning themselves or feeling crazy and thinking that it's their fault, and it's not.
Yeah. And I just think that that was a little... we took down the comment right away because it was obviously
motivated.
Like, I don't know what you call it, spam or negativity that was just not helpful in any way.
Yeah, so we prepared something that we would like to share with our audience and anybody who's listening from that respect. And this is something that is vital as far as us expressing, our personal experiences. We have a right to those, and those are ours uniquely. But we're not alone. 1 in 5 people are affected by toxic relationships in some capacity, and so it is a matter of public, importance that we do shed light on what we experience, because that offers up healing, and it offers up the opportunity for other people to express themselves in a way that helps them heal as well. So we will not be quiet in any scenario, especially when it comes to our personal experiences, which we can attest to. So Jennifer, why don't you start with the what we have to say here, because I think it's important that you start it.
Okay. So I think whether or not this is just something that's been on my heart, right? So you don't get to rewrite my story, right? Just because you might not like how I tell it. And the comment that was made was about my ideas. It was about my character. It was about assumptions about my past relationship, my age, my intentions, my family. I mean, it went into detail about accusing me of lying and using people, pretending to be someone I'm not. And most of all, I think it was meant to silence me. And really, there's a quote that I wrote by Craig Lowensbrough, and he said, "If your truth threatens someone, it might be because their lie needs to stay hidden." So that resonated with me. I think we speak our truth not to threaten anyone, but to set ourselves and maybe someone else free. So to the person sending those messages, I hope you get the healing you need. But trying to weaponize our past or twist timelines and accuse us of things we've already faced head on won't work. You know, we've done the work and we're still doing it. And we're proud of the people we've become. Yeah. And that's really my statement that I wanted to make.
Yeah. And I want to say this clearly. I was in a relationship with a control and narcissist. I know what emotional manipulation looks like. I know what it feels like to have your own children weaponized against you. When someone attacks my wife in our relationship, I see it for what it is. A desperate attempt to shame, silence, and control. And we're not going to stand for that. That was where I was meant to be put during that time, was to be quiet and sit in the corner. I want to, to the person who did those messages, Melissa, or whatever your name is, you don't know the truth. You know your version of a story you weren't a part of. We've done the hard work. We've sat with our own pain, taken accountability, healed, and rebuilt our lives with honesty and love together. And your judgment has no place with us. And it is not helpful for what we're trying to accomplish with this show. Here's a stat worth knowing. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, over 60% of people who experienced emotional abuse don't recognize it until they've left the relationship. That's why we tell our stories, because maybe someone's listening and needs a wake-up call.
Yeah. I think the magnitude of this conversation is just stay in your lane. And I think that's our pivot into our podcast script.
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing about this.
Yeah.
If you think that it's not real that people want us silenced, take for example, and this is a matter of public record. Part of my separation and part of the agreement that was negotiated, there was an offer, and in that offer was maybe slightly less compensation to my ex in exchange for allowing her to proofread anything that I say or write in a form like a book or a podcast. And if you don't see through that kind of manipulation, I'm sad for you. And that's why we will never be quiet, because when people want to silence you, it is for their own gain, because their image is more important than the truth. And we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, and the whole reason you guys do the show and talk about these things aren't you talk about past experiences. It's to help you and your future move forward, and to help people who are in toxic relationships. And usually getting out of those relationships is the best thing for both parties. So you need to be able to move on from that. But the reason you're talking about it is because it's helping you move on, and will help listeners out there. There are listeners that want to improve themselves, but are being inhibited by others. And whether it's a family member or a relative or a best friend or somebody, maybe you've got to set your own boundaries and have somebody that's a true friend or partner or family member will allow you to stay in your lane.
Right. And I think,
the purpose of this podcast
is not to get into drama and to talk about things. It is about the idea of bettering everybody involved. And
Sure.
if there's people out there who need to hear some of these things, that's important. It's not the focal point by any stretch of the imagination. But it is important that, we touch on all aspects of what affects our finances and our fitness. And, people need to know, all those things, that we are part of that. We've lived through situations that are not easy. And, to the commenter, I just want to make sure that you recognize that at some point you may have to come, and look in the mirror and say, geez, I may be wrong. And, that's the thing, that when you're in those situations, you don't realize that you're wrong.
Right.
You just are following whatever it is that blindly you think you need to do to stay in a relationship or stay in good graces. Well, at some point, if you are able to, stop hiding behind a fake name, I really pray for you specifically to have healing and wholeness in your life. That is no way to live, and I feel sad.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and allow people to be independent and have their own goals and be able to achieve them. And some people don't even realize they're doing it, but look at yourself. Am I limiting someone, a loved one, from reaching their goals, and maybe subconsciously doing things to sabotage that? And I'm not even realizing it. And I'm glad you guys talked about that, because it helped me be more introspective and say, I don't want to do anything that would limit my wife and her goals and her dreams and I either. And so I think it's good to listen to and talk about. And speaking of staying in your lane, you wanted to talk about investing in the future and staying in our lanes. What do you mean by that? Investing in your future?
Yeah. So change is really hard, right? So change is extremely hard, but it can be absolutely necessary, and you will get some indications of when you absolutely have to change, right? And we usually wait to the last minute. The reason
Human nature.
Right. The reason I want to bring this topic up is, I was spending 60, 70 hours a week just grinding in my business, and I was wearing 10 hats, doing everything that I possibly could with marginally delegating. And around 2018, I had this wake up call that I didn't want to miss opportunities. And further, I had this idea that my business was yes, rooted in the idea of helping everybody I could help, but also it was meant to sustain my life and my lifestyle and what I had for goals, as personally, what I wanted to accomplish. The kind of vehicle I drove, the kind of house that I live in, what I could afford for my kids. Those things were vitally important. They became more of a focal point. And so I'm telling you this because when you are faced with things, you need to focus on the things that you're really good at, right? And drop the things that aren't as important. And when you're dealing with your health and your finances, you don't, if that's not your full-time gig, you might want to try to offload some of that to somebody like Jennifer, or a planning firm like ours. And this may sound like a big commercial, but if you have somebody working with them, work with them, do that, offload that stuff. And it wasn't until that point that my business went through the roof. Like, I stopped doing all those things. I hired the right people, and I was able to see more. I was more clear, more present for my clients. I was more present at home. And those are so important. When you look through the inventory of what you're doing, take the good parts that you're really good at and see about offloading the things that aren't as you're not as good at. Right?
Sure. So did that point come before or after this picture was taken? Did that? I'm just asking. Just asking. Was that before or after this photo was taken?
Before.
Okay, good, because this looks like a happy man here. This looks like a good guy right here.
It was prior to all that silver in that beard. I may have had a patch or two on the top of my head. I don't know. It may have been.
Yeah, I just happen to have that picture
That
at
is
hand, ready to show.
well played, Tony. Well played.
Oh, I've got more. There'll be more. Don't worry about that, Jeff.
You know what I'm sad. I kind of miss our our sound effects in the background. I do miss some of those.
You miss sound effects?
Oh,
Yes, the
yes.
sound effects are always the best.
Well, yeah, we can have sound effects. That's
Financial Panther, you say?
Yeah. Well, that's what people call you. I mean, obviously, that's what people call you.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
I mean, when you talk about investing in your future, and then you get a response like this, what do you say, Jeff?
My lifestyle is my retirement plan.
So Homer's lifestyle is his retirement plan. Does that make any sense?
That's the best.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense.
That does not make any sense.
And you don't want to end up, like this.
Hello, I'm cold and there are wolves after me.
Oh man.
I mean, that's not where you want to end up. So that's why you invest in your future.
Yes,
that's right.
That sounds like you're out in the cold.
Well, I think staying in your lane can mean also just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So if you're pouring your energy into tasks that you're only average at, you're holding yourself back from real progress, whether that's in your health from a fitness nutrition standpoint, your career, or just generally speaking, your financial life. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a a pun, right? Because you're a swimmer staying in your lane.
That's right.
Dad jokes for days.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
In your lane.
That's terrible.
Oh, can we edit that? That's terrible.
Oh yeah, that was really bad. That was You know what? That one earned you the sad trombone.
Oh, I was
sad trombone.
I was hoping for the crickets. That's what I was hoping.
Oh no, you'll get.
That was what I was going for.
I keep those on in the background the whole time you're talking.
Well, for all 14 subscribers, I mean,
I know, I love it.
It's mostly crickets.
As we get the show will build as we go. Trust me. Yeah.
Well, at least we have somebody who comments too.
Yeah.
Well, there are people listening. Trust me.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Yeah. So the comments, when they could easily be just hanging out with each other and spending time changing each other's oil. They decided to listen to our podcast and comment on it.
I love it.
A lot of comments, and we removed these too, but a lot of people commented that they were upset to find out Jeff wasn't single, and so we removed those comments. Otherwise, Jennifer might.
I'm telling you, I would be too if I was.
Jennifer might get upset, so I just removed those automatically. See, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I help you guys out.
You do. You have our back.
Yep, I do. I do.
Wow.
I do. But hey, so stay in your swim lane or your financial lane. Don't get carried away. But working with professionals like yourself, but investing in your future. I mean, that's why you guys do this show, is to get people to invest in their future, both physically, mentally, with their health and their finances. Right?
Yeah, I mean, they need to make a commitment. I mean, I think you owe it to yourself, your family, whoever it is that you are needing to take care of from this point until it's over. Right. You have to have the best health you can possibly have, and the best financial situation you can have within reason, right? So obviously, you don't have to be a gazillionaire and Mr. Olympia to enjoy a good retirement, but whatever is in your your ability, you should try. Right? Make a commitment to yourself. Offload the stuff that doesn't matter. Really.
I mean, you can't do it. I'm learning that right now in my business. Honestly, you can't do it alone forever. I mean, there comes a point where you have to hire and create departments and ask for help, find a mentor. I think it's at some point, it's not just a luxury. It's almost essential.
It definitely
because, burnout is just around the corner, if not.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that put their head in the sand about, their financial future or their health because they have their own mission, their own thing that is their purpose, their why, and that gets them up every morning and drives them. But you can't forget about those things because 30 years pop up fast, and then, geez, have I done enough is always the question. Always the question. And
Yep.
a lot of times it's no. You know, a lot of times it is yes. There are a lot of great, you know, people that, you know, have done some stuff on accident that has done really well. There's a lot of people who have done some stuff on purpose that has done really well. But what we're talking about are people that are struggling to kind of make all of it work. And they, you know, and then they're spread thin, and it affects the relationships. It affects, you know, their ability to do things that they enjoy. I mean, I'm just here to tell you, offload, offload, offload.
And I think it's not just about, you know, avoiding burnout necessarily. It's about creating something a little bit more sustainable. So
Right.
if you want to make work optional someday, if you want that amount of freedom or impact, you've got to focus on what you're great at.
Yes.
You know, and try to build a team around you to handle the rest.
Yeah. It doesn't mean if you're, you know, if you're a W-2 employee, you don't have to go and see if you can get somebody for minimum wage to do some of your work, but you know, you can create stuff around you in your sphere. I mean, Tony, you know, you I mean, you've been doing this for 30 years. I'm sure you have, I think we heard that you have some new help that came in to support you. I'm sure that had to be equally scary, but also exciting that you didn't have to do as much. How did that impact you?
You're muted.
I think you're muted.
I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. I think I just didn't want to interrupt the wit and wisdom from Jeff and Jennifer. I had to mute myself there. I get excited.
He's like, just let him go.
I was verklempt. My mute button wasn't on. I was just verklempt. I was just choked up. So it's a world of difference. You know, for so long, for 11 and a half years, Mitch and I ran the radio and podcast department that we're currently running. And it was just the two of us. And we finally have a third person, and she's taking over some of the co-hosting duties and uploading shows, onboarding agents. And it's just like, okay, so now I'm not sitting on the couch with my laptop. Well, you know, Sarah, my wife's doing other things or trying to watch a show, and I'm uploading shows at night, trying to get them uploaded in time. Right. So that's a world of difference, helps with the work family balance. And you need that with your professional life too, with why not offload? How am I going to get in shape? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Why not offload that to Jennifer? And what about my finances? Am I going to have enough money for retirement? Why not offload that to Jeff? Put that on his shoulders. Right. Jeff's got broad, strong shoulders, right? Right. And you know,
not so many brains, but I have the shoulders. So.
Right. No, you're the brains of the operation.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Jennifer's the eye candy, and I'm here.
Yeah,
I bring nothing to the game. No, I bring nothing.
You're definitely comic relief. There's no doubt about it.
No, what I am is magical.
He's pulled all the sound effects out now.
Magical.
I love it.
Let's magical. Stay on that though. He said something important, and that is, you know, you have more time for life balance, right?
Yes.
Life balance. So imagine if you're running at the clip that you were running at, try to fit in fitness. You know, that's not going to happen because mentally you're already burnt by the end of the day. And if you have to still upload stuff after dinner, you know, you're eyeing that instead of, hey, how can I be present? How can I, you know, work on myself? And so that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
When you get serious about those two things, something that's, you know, so important as your health and your finances, when you get really in alignment and say, hey, geez, I really want to work on these things and put them to bed and automate them, right? I want this to be automated. I know that if I do X, Y, Z, I'm going to be good in the future. If I do these things, those are things that I can control, but geez, I don't want to go and do the research and become a certified personal trainer in order to recognize the right exercises for my body, or, you know, buy the thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment that it takes to do that sometimes. You know, and you know, much the same with your financial situation. Everybody should have a financial plan. It's the thought that you don't should be scarier than taking the time to actually do it. Having a plan. I mean, how do you know what you're going to hit if you don't have a plan?
I don't know how people sleep well. And I mean, once you have a financial plan in place and a plan for your physical health. It is just you sleep better at night, just knowing, hey, I don't have to worry about this. I've got a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a team.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can attest to certainly to the work that Jennifer's done, in my life, and I'm sure she can attest to the stuff that we've done together for her finances. Right. So, I mean, the thing is, you don't know until you do it. Right. You can only dream that, hey, this is, whatever, this is for the top 1% to take advantage of. I can tell you, if you do it, you will be shocked at the results that you get. And it is a world of difference, and it is what you pay, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And it's important. I mean, I could go on and on about the work that we've done together, to transform, how I feel personally in my body. And,
I think staying in your lane and like growing your lane is there's a whole other podcast that we could do, growing your lane.
Yep.
Sure.
But I think handing off those tasks to someone who loves doing whatever drains you,
right,
ultimately for like work-life balance is key. And I think finding those people that have unique strengths that are not the same as yours is very important. Creating a team of dynamic personalities and different strengths. And actually, I'm going to shout out John Maloney he owns a company called by Design.
Oh yeah.
And he does our team staff bonding activities like every quarter. And it's been a game changer for our business, like being able to identify the staff that have unique skill sets and then, assigning tasks that speak to them. So that kind of excite them, as opposed to just, oh, here's a list of tasks and let's just divide it evenly. Here's a list of tasks and who can really get excited about these tasks? Like who's the learner in the group? Who's the developer in the group? Who's the relator in the group? And it's really neat, like the report that's generated. It's called your 34 strength report. And it puts them in order of like your top 5, strengths. And as an owner, that's valuable information. Knowing what each staff member is really excels at and how they think.
Yeah.
That's a young Jeff. I found a picture of Jeff when he still had hair when he was younger.
That's about right. Oh my God.
So this is before when Jeff still had hair on his head and not on his chin.
And I was 300 pounds.
Yeah. You weighed a little bit more. You weighed a little bit more, then had less of a neck, but that's I thought people might want to see that. I just thought I'd throw that up there.
Thanks, Tony. You got that from the vault.
Pulled yeah. Sorry about that. I just thought I'd
No, it's fair.
A young Jeff.
Peter Griffin.
Yeah.
Young Peter, young Jeff, whatever. I've heard it both ways.
Oh. Man.
But anyway, I feel like the right support and the team, whether you're offloading your fitness plan, you can do it yourself, health for a while, but I think most people do hit a wall.
You only
because
get so far.
They've exhausted their skill set.
Well, John, speaking of John, we did the, of course, I've done the strength finders too, and shocker, Jennifer and I have our last strength, which would mean our weakest, is the same. It's context.
Yeah.
So we're like, we'll just make a decision. We'll make a decision. What context is more like, so just for everybody, for people's context.
Yeah.
Context is like an underwriter. An underwriter would be like, well, what about this angle, this angle, this angle? It's always like sort of that, the doubt part. How do you? Yeah, we're like glass half full all the time. We're like, just it'll work out. It's gonna work out somehow. That's our
eternal optimists.
Yes, that's us.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's an okay weakness to have. I mean,
my top one is learner, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Your top strength is learner.
Yeah. And Jeff's top strength is positivity.
Yeah, I believe that. Believe that. That makes sense for both.
Yeah,
an really encourager.
Cool. I mean, that's a positive guy. Actually, here's the deal. That looks more like a young me than it does you. So it's kind of a slam. It's really more me than you.
I think we call that projection.
Yeah, that was me projecting. It's like I put that up there and I'm like, hey, that looks like me. I'll still say it.
Have you ever seen the one where he goes to the CrossFit gym?
No.
Oh, you got to pull that episode where Peter
goes to a CrossFit gym, and there's Jennifer trying to help him.
It's so good. He's like, he goes in and then he meets the instructor. I think the instructor's name is Chad, which is so funny.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
But he's talking to him. He's like, so Peter, what do you eat? And he's like, pizza. And he's like, pizza. Well, and he has like that really dopey like laugh. And he's like, that's really bad for you. And he's like, well, why? And then he just keeps asking, like, why? And the guys just gives these blank, statements, and then he leaves and goes home, and then his wife's like, do you want to get pizza tonight, Peter? And he's like, no, it's really bad for you, so it's like the whole beauty of it is like, CrossFit's a cult, like, if you don't agree with it, you carry it somewhere, It's so good.
That is funny. Now, Jennifer, when you work with people and they come in and you help them get a regimen, whether it's exercise, diet, things like that, whether it's Pilates, yoga, whatever you do for people there, I know it's kind of a mystery. It's a little bit like the Masons. We don't know what happens inside. I don't know.
There's no ceremony.
It's like you're somewhere between the Mormons and the Masons where you're not allowed in the inner circle. I'm teasing. It's not a cult.
It's not quite Scientology.
But you help people. But do you ever get that? A person where everything you say, you should do this, this is good for you and this is bad for you, that ever just says why? Have you ever had someone like that? Why? Why is pizza bad for me? Because I'm the kind of guy who I want a full explanation. If you're going to get me to give up pizza, you better have a good reason.
And here's the thing about that, and let me just preface that question about I coach making peace with food. Like trying not to label foods as good or bad, because there's this vicious cycle that happens where when you forbid certain foods, you have this forbidden fruit backlash, what I call.
Yes.
Where you can't.
Adam and Eve story.
It's like it's more alluring.
Old Adam and Eve story.
Yeah, you've forbidden it. You're like, now I can't stop thinking about it, and it's constantly on your mind. And then you just go to town on whatever food it was that you
devil's forbade.
Food. Oh,
the devil's food.
Speaking of evil beings, have you guys ever seen a cat?
No.
So cute.
Got a kitty cat.
Adorable. Yeah. But anyway, I do get people that ask why, but I try.
Mr. Evil. Yes. Yes, my precious. Yes. We are partners in evil. Yes.
What's your kitty cat's name?
Milo.
Milo. Does Milo have laser beams?
That shoot out of his. We're gonna strap laser beams on his head. Little laser beams. Get a little strap on.
The sharks with the laser beams. We got bass.
Sea bass.
Jennifer doesn't get any of these references because she doesn't watch it.
No. Austin Powers, you got to watch it. It's a way of life.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
You know what? It's good for your health. You'd like it, Jennifer, because it's healthy. If you watch Austin Powers, you're going to laugh and burn calories. You're going to laugh so hard, you'll burn calories.
There you go.
Laughter's a good medicine.
It is.
Yeah. So this has been a good discussion. I mean, obviously, it is important to invest in your future and make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who are supportive. And if they're not, try to talk to them. Communication is key, but offload. Or off. Jeff, let's keep it good. Jennifer, try to keep him in line. You usually do such a great job.
I have to stay in my lane.
Yeah, exactly. Practice what you preach there, Bubba. Stay in your lane.
Good call.
Stay in your lane. That's why we keep him right in the middle where we can, so he can't. He has to say no. You gotta. That's all the further you can go. Yeah. No. We give Jeff the freedom. Yep. We're not trying to limit you. I wouldn't do that. I'm a good friend. You guys are really, what you're really trying to do is help people, and you love to hear from people out there with questions
Yes.
and who are looking for answers and trying to better themselves. Those are the people we want to
100%.
hear from.
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's give out your information. Jennifer, let's start with you.
Yes.
So let's just say one day I wake up and for some reason after 50 some years, I all of a sudden want to be healthy. How would I actually do that?
Go to our website.
That's great.
And that's fburgfitness.com, FBURG fitness.com. And you'll see the link at the top. It says discovery call. And that is a direct link to my schedule.
All right. And now for the eye candy of the show, Jeff Smith.
Oh my God.
I mean, look at that guy.
He shows
Holy shnikey. Look at that. Look at that.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Look at that. You're a good looking fella.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep. I don't care what Jennifer says. I think he
is so handsome.
He is.
He's sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
If you go to the retirementsmith.com, you can go to the top right corner and click meet us, and that will actually end up meeting me. But you just fill out that form, hit the send button, and we will be in contact with you to schedule a time. Chris will always send like a Calendly link too, and it'll open up my calendar for free discovery calls. So we're looking forward to talking to you, and we're just so excited to bring this every week to the people who really want to hear us. So thank you.
And good news, our operations coordinator, shout out to Mackenzie. She has an Instagram channel for the fitness and finance now. Yep. She's created.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's very exciting. We forgot to tell you too. We have an interview by an industry magazine wanted to interview Jennifer and I. They saw our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting.
It is exciting.
Yep. So
excellent. That's great.
Insurance News, I think.
Yeah.
Is the name of the firm, and we're gonna be in
virtual.
We're gonna be in a magazine, I think.
Yeah, they're gonna do their interview on the 9th.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we're excited.
That's awesome. You might want to clean up the belligerent, abusive behavior, Jeff, between now and then. Watch the expletives during the interview.
Well, you know me. I'm dropping,
you're
bombs.
No, you're not. You guys are great. Well, thanks. Great show today. Listeners and viewers, thank you so much for tuning in every week to Fitness and Finance Radio with our hosts, Jeff Smith and Jennifer Scherer. See ya.